Opinions expressed in the following program are not necessarily those of Shaw Cable Systems or of the station. Through our access policy, we provide the opportunity for community groups and individuals to express their points of view.
You are watching Lit Happens, Saskatchewan showcase of the literary talent of the province. We have a return guest today, Marion Mutala, who has a hot book out. Well, it's on the verge of being out, and she's going to tell us about that today. She's going to tell us about a few things. So, first of all, Marion, welcome back to Lit Happens.
Well, it's great to be here, Wes. Thanks for having me. You. Thank you.
And it's great to have you back, and it's great to be out on location again in Underground Cafe on 20th Street. As viewers can see, this is a fabulous place. We're surrounded by classic vinyl and coffee and all that great stuff.
Really great coffee, too,
Yes.
so come on down.
Yes! So, I want to talk to you about a few things today, but what I'm really, really excited about is your Easter book, which is arriving on stores this fall. I guess first, tell us about the premise of the Easter book.
Okay. Well, as viewers might be aware, I'm doing a trilogy in the series. My first book was Babushka, A Magical Ukrainian Christmas, and this continues the story. So this one book is called Babushka, A Magical Ukrainian Easter, and in the first book, Natalia is a little girl and she's out playing in the snow, and it starts snowing babushkas, a Ukrainian headscarf, and one lands on her head and takes her back to Ukraine, and she meets her Baba, who teaches her all about the Ukrainian Christmas Eve traditions.
Right.
And so this story continues. Natalia's out playing in the rain this time, and all of a sudden, green babushkas start falling from the sky, land on her head, and take her back to Ukraine. And she meets her Baba again, but her Baba's not a little girl anymore. Her Baba's growing up a little bit, a teenager, kind of falling in love a little bit with a teenage boy. And her Baba teaches her all the Ukrainian Easter traditions, which are many.
Now, you had some phenomenal success with your first book, Magical Ukrainian Christmas. It became bigger than anyone, even you, thought it was going to.
Yeah.
What was that like for you?
Oh, it was so exciting. It was my first book, and I never had any expectations of where it would go, but it became a bestseller at McNally and Robinson, and it came out in October 2010, and it was on the best-selling list almost every week.
Yes.
And I sold over 3,800 copies, and it won an award, the Anna Produchny Award, so I was very proud of it, and very proud of my traditions, the Ukrainian traditions.
Yes. And I just want to mention that 2,000 copies is considered a bestseller in Canada for a children's book. That makes you a national best-selling author.
Well, thank you very much. I'm really proud of that, but I'm also proud about my story because it's historical fiction. It's based on the traditions, the Ukrainian traditions, but it's also based on my family. My grandparents immigrated from Ukraine in 1912 to Canada, to Saskatchewan, and then they moved to Hafford. And that's where my story takes place, in Hafford, Saskatchewan. And the house is in the pictures, and my mom's the Baba in the story, and so are my grandparents in there. So it's a real family story.
It is a family story, but I have it, and I've read it a number of times, and it's so much more than that. When a person originally sees it on a shelf, they'll perceive it as a children's book. But I think it's a lot more. It's historical fiction. You really touch on Ukrainian heritage in that story.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
And I've had so many good comments, and the responses have been amazing.
Yeah.
And I just feel blessed to have written that book and put it out there, and now the traditions are documented. But also my family, I know my Baba and my mom, who are in heaven looking over us, are probably pretty proud of that book too.
Oh, I think they're extraordinarily proud. So, I want to talk about you.
Okay.
Because I want to know what drove you to do this. Because you just retired not so long ago from, 30 years of teaching?
That's right.
Yes. And you could have just settled into a nice little, simple retired life, but you didn't. You authored some books. What drove you to do that?
Well, I've been writing my whole life. I think I got my first guitar when I was about 12, and so I was writing songs. I started writing songs and poetry, and you know, I've been having journaling my whole life too, but I never had the opportunity to, you know, get my work out there. But I've always wanted to. I was always thinking of a career in journalism. If I couldn't do teaching, I love teaching, but another career I was thinking was journalism.
Yeah.
And so this gives me an opportunity to get my work out, and I got to teach for 30 years, which I really enjoyed. But and now I'm teaching in a different way. I'm teaching about my Ukrainian traditions. I'm teaching about writing, and really enjoying the process. So, and I do a lot of music and writing music too. I'm hoping to have a CD come out. And continue writing some books. I have a poetry book on the shelf, and even a murder mystery I'm working on. So.
Wow. And we should also toss it out there that you are one of the members of the Sassy Sisters, which is a musical group that exists here in Saskatchewan too.
That's right. And we entertain. We've entertained for the last probably 4 or 5 years in Saskatoon at many seniors places, nursing homes, with my 2 sisters. My one sister just passed away recently, but my sister Angie plays the accordion, and sometimes I play with my sister Margaret, who lives in Regina. And actually, I have 6 sisters and 3 brothers, so I have a big family. We're very musical, and we love singing. It's part of our life, too.
Great. Now, you said trilogy, and this is your 2nd book. So obviously, there's a 3rd one is going to manifest at some point in time.
It actually is written. We're just in the process of editing it now.
Great.
And it's called Baba's Babushka, A Magical Ukrainian Wedding.
Yes.
And so again, as I said, Natalia stays little in the story, but Baba's growing up. So in the 3rd book, she's going to get married and immigrate to Canada, just like my grandparents did. And then they moved to Hafford. So
awesome. We'll watch for that. Ironically, you and I are going to Hafford in the near future. We're doing some book promos together there.
Yes.
So, you know. One thing I've been really wanting to talk to you about is you do your big book launches here at McNally Robinson in Saskatoon, and then you're going out to a lot of the rural areas. In some cases, you're going a lot of far distances to promote your books. What has that been like for you, just to walk into a small community and do a reading of your work? And is it a little overwhelming? Is it a little daunting, or are you finding these smaller communities are embracing you?
Well, actually, I specifically, I was in Estevan, and they treated me like a rock star there.
Cool.
And I think we have a responsibility as Saskatchewan authors is to get out to the rural communities and give other people an opportunity to find out what authors do, how to write, and to help and encourage other people to write, especially our youth, our young people. So it has been such a good response, and I think they don't always get an opportunity to see authors and talk to them. So I think it's important. I think it's an important responsibility, an important message that we send to our young people today. So it has been so good, and I've been in many, many communities and hoping to go to a few more communities and talk to them about my books, but also about the writing process.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, we've thrown out a lot of information here, but what I really want to get out is where in the province can viewers find the Baba's Babushka's books?
Okay, well, they're at McNally Robinson's. They're online, Amazon.com. I also have a website, www.babasbabushka.ca, so you can get them through me, or through your Nichols Worth publishing company in Regina, too. So.
Yes, and we should take this opportunity. We should throw out a plug for your Nicholsworth Publishing in Regina, because they're just doing some amazing things. I'm in awe of them, what they're doing. They put out, I think it's 61 books within about the last 8 years, and a lot of them have become bestsellers and award winners. So
yes, when I was looking to publish my book, I did some research, and Heather Nichol is amazing, and I feel very blessed to have met her too and had her work with my book. I feel my book would never be the kind of book it would be today. She has that gift that can pull out the story that needs to be told, and she does amazing work. And also, I'd like to give a plug to Wendy Siemens, my illustrator, who also helped with the illustrations in the book. And that, as you know, for a children's book, but even though it's a children's book, the adults are enjoying it as much as the children. But the illustrations really tell the story too. So it's been great.
And I'm one of the privileged few who've actually seen the illustrations for the Easter book, which is yet to come out. So I feel very privileged. I've looked at them online, and they're exquisite. So.
Yes, they're really good, and I think the second book you'll be just as happy with the first book. So
I think so too. Well, I know we're out of time, but I just want to thank you for enlightening us about the Baba's Babushka Magical Ukrainian Easter. I know I'm only one of numerous people who's excited about it, so best of luck to you. I hope you have another national bestseller on your hands.
Well, thank you, Wes, again to be here, and Dako you, thank you again.
You bet. If I could say you're welcome in Ukrainian, I would do it.
Prosh.
Oh, good to know. That is all the time we have today for Lit Happens. If you enjoyed today's segment, you can see previous episodes on the Shaw TV website or on my website, westfunk.ca. You can connect with us online on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. So I'll see you next time on Lit Happens.